Hello there, you're welcome to another interesting edition of my podcast. And today I'm going to be bringing you the concluding part of the quarterfinal games at the African Cup of Nations currently holding in Gabon. Yes, we had two interesting games that were played. That was between the Black Stars of Ghana and the Leopards of the Democratic Republic of Congo. And of course, the second game, which was between the Atlas Lions of Morocco and the Pharaohs of Egypt, which was played later on after the first the first quarterfinal games. Well, I mean, both games were not as exciting as the first two quarterfinals, in my opinion, but there's still something to cheer about. Let's look at the very first game, which was between Ghana and the Congolese team. And wow, it was a very, very tense time for the Ghanaian team. As I've clearly stated in my previous editions, I did state that Ghana have not lived up to expectations. And despite my opinion on Ghana, I still tipped them to go all the way, and that's exactly what happened as they won the game by 2-1. The first half was a tense period for the Ghanaian team. In my opinion, they were very, very lucky to have survived that half. I dare say that if the Congolese team had taken their chances, they would have ended up scoring more goals. One particular highlighting point was when the Hull City striker Mbokani had a clear-cut chance after rounding up the Ghanaian goalkeeper, and all he had was the empty net. Unfortunately, the ball hit the crossbar. How unlucky he was. And they created several dangerous moments. They locked around the Ghanaians half quite a bit, and the Ghanaian had to hold till the end of the first half, and I'm sure they would have been very, very relieved to have survived the first half. And the second half began pretty almost the same way. The Congolese showed a bit of they still dominated that game, in my opinion. The Ghanaian probably became better. They started pushing forward a bit. They started stringing passes together. And the deadlock got broken eventually when Jordan Ayew, scored a well composed goal. He had the ball within the area of the Congolese team, rounded up one of the defenders before hitting a scorcher of a shot that gave the Ghanaian the first goal of the game. And while the Ghanaians probably thought they had this game under wraps, the Congolese team equalized and it was game on. At that point in time, you would have been scared for the Ghanaians. But towards the end of the game, Christian Atsu got a long ball lobbed to him, and knowing Christian Atsu quite well, he's very, very pacey, and it went past his defender, and the defender had no other option. Well, he had an option, but unfortunately he had to take him down in the box, which gave Ghanaians the penalty that eventually resulted in winning the game for the Ghanaian team. The Ghanaians were very lucky. They need to perform well in the next game, because that's going to be a tough one, and that's going to be against the Lions of Cameroon. So it's going to be a very tough game for the Ghanaian teams. I think they actually missed the influence of Asamoah Gyan, who probably I hope or should be fit for the next the semi-final games. The Ghanaian needs to win this game, and as I've often joked, it's been quite a long time Ghanaian won. The last time they won it was in 1982. To put it in context, at the time the Ghanaian won, the African Cup of Nations, CDs, that's compact disc, had not been invented at the time. There were no DVDs. There wasn't any Facebook. There wasn't emails. There wasn't internet. It is such a long time. And to probably put it in better context for our British or our English listeners, Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher was the leader at the time. So it's been such a long time. They need to win it. But it's going to be a very tough one against Cameroon, who impressively won the Senegalese team via penalties. Now I'll move on quickly to the next game, which was more or less an Arab or Maghreb derby. And that was between the Egyptians, who have won the African Cup of Nations 7 times, and the Moroccans, who last won it about 41 years ago. That was in 1976. So it's been such a very long time. No, such a long time. They haven't won it. They've won it for such. They haven't won it for such a long time. They've come close on occasions. In 2004, they got to the finals of the African Cup of Nations, but lost to Tunisia. But before the game against Egypt, I wanted them to win it for sentimental reasons. I like Coach Renard Harves, who is fast becoming an African journeyman coach, having coached the Zambian national team and the Ivorian national team, winning the African Cup of Nations on both spells. So I was hoping that I was going to be third time lucky, particularly whenever he puts on his white sparkling shirt, which always gave him that lucky edge. But yesterday was not to be for Renard Harves' led team. And the game was quite cagey, which was typical of any North African game, usually very tense and fierce. And they cancelled each other out, really. And it was pretty obvious that barring any lapses in concentration or defensive lapses, the game was heading for another penalty. But towards the end of the second half or the game, within the last 5 minutes, there was a corner kick that was played into the Moroccan's box, and it was a scramble that eventually got the Egyptians the victory. So Egypt are in the quarterfinal and in the semi-finals. I haven't missed out in the last 3 editions of the African Cup of Nations, and they will be facing Burkina Faso. It's easy to predict that the Egyptian team will win on the basis of superior strength in depth, but we should not forget too soon that the Burkina Faso defeated the Tunisians by 2-0. So the Burkina Faso have got the advantage of previously playing a fellow North African team. So that could work in their advantage. But the Egyptians are still probably favourites to win that game. And Cameroon versus Ghana is a very tough one to predict, or a difficult one to call. It's going to be very, very, very cagey. Both teams will come on the field of play trying to be cautious, trying to look for. They'll be very, very conservative in going forward, but I see that the team with the less defensive discipline losing the game. And on the basis of what I've seen so far, the Cameroonians are much disciplined defensively compared to the Ghanaians. And you've got to give the Cameroonians credit, considering the fact that they lost some of their key players who refused to play, the likes of Nyom, the likes of Triple Martin, the likes of the Liverpool defender who refused to join the team as well too. You know, Matip, that's his name. Yeah. So it's going to be a tough one for the Ghanaian team, and I want to wish all teams the best of success as they play in the semi-finals. If I'm going to go for my prediction, the first game I will be tipping Egypt to go ahead against Burkina Faso, and I have the slight feeling that Ghana will still put on an impressive show, but will still go ahead of Cameroon. But until I come your way again, I want to know what your thoughts are. Drop me your comments in the box. Let me know what you think. until I come again, definitely after the semi-final games. This is Perspective from Oba. Have a nice day.